Planning brings the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. Equally, the partnership between Musika and AgriProFocus Zambia brings the future into the present as the two organizations aim to champion gender-inclusive business strategy in agriculture. This is an essential step to improving the socio-economic status of rural communities through a business approach. But how did this business partnership come about?
Musika is one of our active members. They've been active for the last couple of years in different activities in some of our sectors like dairy and also in gender. What we established last year was our first gender coaching program. And during this program, Musika saw a potential for their own partners and clients to also benefit from what we were doing. So it's really looking at integrating gender into business strategies.
AgriProFocus is a membership network of which Musika is a part of, and they've recently started bringing together private sector companies that are looking to mainstream gender. So this is strictly business. So how can we mainstream gender in a business sense? How can these private sector companies make profits by mainstreaming gender? And that's how we touched base with AgriProFocus to see if we could create a separate coaching trajectory for Musika's partners that is tailor-made.
What we want to see at the end of the day as Musika is a vibrant agriculture market that works especially for the rural poor.
Fighting poverty would remain a huge battle if key players in the national economy opt to be gender blind in the way they run their businesses. That's why Musika and AgriProFocus engaged 4 private sector companies on a 9-month coaching track which kicked off in Siavonga from the 25th to the 26th of March 2015 with Munzuma Estates, Vet24 Agro Services, ATS Agrochemicals Limited and Kiji Limited in attendance. The gender coaching trajectory aims to expand business opportunities by equipping companies with knowledge on how to develop and incorporate gender-inclusive strategies in their businesses. International coach Els Rick explains gender in the context of agricultural value chains development.
Let's say we look at the cotton production in Zambia. Both women and men are active in these chains. They do certain activities, they perform certain functions. But then when you look at what do they get out of it, you'll start to see differences in terms of equality of benefits. So you often see that women do much more work, even in most of these value chains, but the benefits they get out of it are lower. They are not the ones, for example, selling the products or even deciding about sales. So when you're talking about gender and value chain development approaches, you quite often have to think of how do we get these women at that level of where the men are.
More often than not, some people think the term gender is a fierce battle instigated by women to fight for equal rights with men. But any organization that invests time and resources on women provides new opportunities to grow the business because gender makes agribusiness sense. The coaching track is a special tripartite business relationship of Musika, AgriProFocus Zambia, and coaches from the participating organization. This is a rare moment of great experience and great learning opportunities. What are the expectations of the participating private sector companies?
I know today was just the beginning, so at the end of the whole training or interactions, we expect to identify the gaps or the constraints in the whole chain of livestock management, why women are not really there, and how can we address those gaps. I think that's our desire.
My expectations after this workshop is that we'll try as much as possible to have them, to engage them and also upscale their level of participation, more especially as stockists, sales agents, or as farmers generally.
My expectation in this coaching track is to understand the gender mainstreaming in agribusiness service provision.
My expectations are to improve the benefits that women get out of the agriculture sector, because they work as much and as hard as men, and the output they get is much less. Meanwhile, the workload is just as much.
It must be understood that investing in equal opportunities for women and men brings about efficiency in operations, high productivity, and comprehensive profitability. But how does this interactive process work?
Women are active contributors to these value chains, and yet they are quite invisible in terms of the nature of what they contribute to these value chains. So mapping is a tool that helps a coachee to actually be able to find out or determine what is the level of participation or contribution that is made by women, men, boys and girls. This is a very good analytical tool that will help them to understand what is happening in that particular value chain.
The national coach encouraged coaches to go for low-hanging fruits, like embarking on things that are feasible and workable before addressing larger components of the project. Interestingly, gender-inclusive business strategies thrive on humble beginnings.
How will the trajectory be treated? Is it going to be treated as an added-on responsibility, which it shouldn't? Or is it going to be treated as something that you mainstream into what you already do? It calls for some slight rethinking of somebody's job description, I suppose.
During the course of the track, it is essential for the coach to provide supportive evidence of the activities undertaken. Like in sport, the coach plays an advisory role throughout the process. Naturally, it is very important to consider gender because women play a critical role in the agricultural value chains. However, the contribution of women remains in the fringes. Out of 4 companies, 3 companies managed to come up with strategic activities during the 9 months track. Munzuma Estates of Monza District embarked on cowpeas outgrower scheme in Kazungula settlement in a forward-thinking approach.
It has opened up new business opportunities because before we only had a group of 30 women, and right now we've increased that number, which will help us produce more cowpeas, and it's expanded our reach as a company to other places where the farmers have bought products other than just cowpeas from us.
The forward-thinking approach by Munzuma Estates includes identifying women farmers to become part of a cowpeas outgrower scheme. The company provided input finance and trainings on cowpeas production to the women farmers.
Mainly, if we had grown the crop, we would have used the tractor and maybe employed 1 or 2 people. But we've chosen this route where we've got 41 women on board who would need help by maybe an extra 3 women. And that would take the number of 100 women who we are helping from this project.
Each of the 41 local women farmers received 5 kg of seed, meaning that 205 kilograms of cowpeas was planted in various fields totaling 5.8 hectares.
Last year, bought cowpeas at 3 kwacha 15 a kilo. At that time, maize was about 1 kwacha a kilo. So there's a significant increase in what they can get out of the cowpeas per kg.
If all goes well, I expect to receive good money from the cowpeas harvest. And perchance, if I hit a 5,000 kwacha mark, that money will make a huge difference at home. Issues of school-going children and purchase of seed for the next season will not be a problem.
In Kalomo District, Vet24 Agro-Services considered the beef and goats value chain. Some of their activities include sharing of information through open discussions and increased knowledge using training and technological support to local farmers within the preferred livestock production range.
As an individual, I've learned that every market is important, regardless of sex age. Every market should just be taken seriously in tapping the opportunity in it.
While cattle production is considered a man's world in rural areas, Vet24 has encouraged women to consider small livestock like goats. Additionally, Chicken rearing by way of poultry or traditional means is a beneficial value chain for women. Many local farmers welcome gender mainstreaming in agro-business, even at household level.
The training that we had together with the women folk has empowered us with knowledge and information. Personally, I've learned that it is inevitable for both men and women to engage in income-generating activities at household level in order to raise some income and also fight or alleviate poverty. That is a better way of living a progressive lifestyle.
It has been shown that gender-inclusive business strategies also reduces poverty and increases wealth at the household level. In Chongwe and Mazabuka districts, ATS Agrochemical Services opened a new business. The company integrated women farmers as sales agents of agrochemicals as they noticed that the company had fewer women sales agents. The company wants to test the viability of recruiting a woman sales agent to their business and further encouraging more product sales to women farmers. Why did they choose this strategy?
So we had a deliberate policy of identifying for recruitment of women as our sales agents. Basically, what that was going to address is that women were going to feel much easier to reach out to their fellow women as opposed to men, because traditionally the trend has been we have had more of male agents in our import distribution. So basically, to change that trend, we had to recruit more women to help us in distributing our chemicals.
The program for ATS Agrochemicals focused on identifying women farmers, training and also supplying agrochemicals at a 10% discount.
It's been an additional income from what I've been doing, at least with what I'm getting from the sales. I know that it's going to help me in a long way.
Even if some tasks done by women and men are biologically or culturally determined, women sales agents bring great benefits of this farmer-driven program of agrochemicals.
It has brought some effectiveness control on the financial aspect from our sales agents. So far, women have proved to be good on financial management than men.
In this 9 months coaching trajectory, time to commit to the tasks by coaches and strong cultural beliefs and traditions of farmers stood out as major constraints.
So there are strong cultural constraints that everyone is bound to encounter. When you deal with an issue like gender, you definitely come across these, whether it's in your office with your directors, like our colleagues here. There are people that come out of a cultural setup, and you cannot just throw it away just like that.
The challenge now is left with participating companies to scale up and build stronger commercial relationships with women and men as a direct response to gender mainstreaming in agri-business development. What has been achieved after this 9 months track? While the 41 women farmers await the harvest of cowpeas, Munzuma has assured them of a guaranteed market.
We were grateful for the opportunity to have been part of the program because we learned a lot of things. One is that definitely it's necessary to have a gender package in your planning process as a business. One has to have it as part of a deliberate attempt rather than in the past it was by the way. I think it's a journey that we have to take. We shouldn't expect too much too quickly.
Vet24 increased their profits in Kalomo and Choma between 25 to 30% since they incorporated gender in value chains.
Our desire is to see a full participation of both the male and the female farmers in the livestock value chain. So we shall implement new activities in the same value chain where women folk can fully participate.
ATS Agrochemicals sold 260 liters of herbicides for Chikankata, 129 liters was sold for Chivuna through women sales agents who are also farmers.
We are also looking at rolling out more women to get involved in, to become agro dealers in the various areas. Also, we're looking at, we know that some communities where there are more women farmers, They've had challenges in using most of our products because of usage. So we have an aspect where we are now also going to train people we are calling spray service providers that will assist farmers, especially the women.
The partnership between Musika and AgriProFocus Zambia in this coaching trajectory consolidates many valuable and practical tools required by any organization for the successful implementation of business strategies that are both profitable and gender sensitive. Ultimately, gender makes agribusiness sense.